Hurricane, a tidal wave. Essence perfect, life looks brilliant. Give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You're burying me, burying me. Yeah, you're burying me, burying me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. Whoa. I can see, I can hear, going crazy for the light. It's got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. And get you out of my hand again.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the MCU again. Welcome to Marvel Talk. I am OLED Ed Fries, and I am joined by my tag team partner, Andre C., with no funny nickname today.
No, I didn't come up with one.
C. It was right there.
It did make sense, but yeah, I didn't do it.
We'll get to more
Too much
of
other
those.
things on my head lately.
We'll get more to the things that Andre is going to have to be taking some time away from in a bit. But first, let's start with Ant-Man. What'd you think of Ant-Man? We watched it 2.5 weeks ago.
I love this movie. I've watched this movie. This is one of the ones that gets replayed a lot of times for me because, like I said on Mark's show on Saturday, or Monday. Sorry, Monday. I said Iron Man is a movie of any of the MCU movies that I just go when I just turn on and I watch because it's a comfort movie. This is another one because it's I don't mean to say this as a mean way, but it's so inconsequential to the rest of the MCU at this point that it lets me just enjoy it just as a simple little heist movie, a comedy heist movie.
Yeah. Noel Taken's jumping in, joining us. Hello, Noel Taken. I hope you enjoyed watching Get the Tables over. Hope you enjoyed watching AEW Dynamite with Get the Tables over there. Noel is a great friend to our Tuesday night shows where we talk all things NXT when Get the Tables jumps in and raids us. So we greatly appreciate you stopping by over here tonight. Yeah, I agree. Ant-Man is fantastic. Ant-Man 1 and 2 are really, really great. Ant-Man 3 has its issues, but we all know why the issues there were there with Ant-Man 3. And
I'll still give Ant-Man 3 at least a little bit of credit for still having a good comedic side to it and having some great jokes. And I'll admit, Thor 4 does not have good comedy, but Ant-Man 3 has good comedy at least. The story falls apart in certain places, but it has good comedy. It has a decent story. So like it's nowhere near 1 and 2 though.
No.
Yeah.
It's not, but it's fine. The one thing I say is Ant-Man 3 was a very good job at closing out the Ant-Man trilogy.
It does.
It does. It has a lot of callbacks. Callbacks to things we're going to talk about tonight. But yes, Ant-Man 3, 2015. Oh, this is a movie. Hello, Miss Astrid. Thank you for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. My other tag team partner. All right. So Ant-Man has a long and tumultuous relationship in the MCU. It is, in fact, the 12th movie in the MCU, but it wasn't supposed to be. This movie is directed by Peyton Reed. At the end. However, originally, when the script was written, which is why he has writer credits on this, it was going to be directed by Edgar Wright.
Yes, the what's it? The Cornetto trilogy.
Yes,
he did with he did with Peg and Frost. Oh, love those movies.
I'll be honest. I'm very happy we did not get the Edgar Wright version of this movie. I'm not an Edgar Wright guy. I'm not a huge fan of Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I'm not a huge fan of the Cornettos. I like them. They're fine. They're fine movies, but I don't watch them. I don't go back and watch them. I have no need to. Me and my buddy were sitting in the cinema, and at our showing of Deadpool and Wolverine, came on that they're doing an anniversary showing of Shaun of the Dead.
Oh.
And I was like, that's a waste of time.
To you, maybe.
Because to me, it's a waste of time. I'm not a fan of the Edgar Wright stuff. He's a fine director. I understand why people like the things he does. His movies aren't bad. They're just not movies that I sit down and enjoy on a daily basis. They're not things that I sit down and really enjoy.
Yeah.
I understand why people like Edgar Wright, because Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, Baby Driver, Last Night in Soho. These are fantastic movies that he's helped write and be a part of.
Yeah, I understand it. Like I'm a big fan of the Cornetto trilogy. Like I love those movies. The Three Flavors. Yeah, I love those movies.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. It took me a lot of years later to actually watch it. Shaun of the Dead, I actually saw after I saw Hot Fuzz, because me and my best friend Josh went to see Hot Fuzz in theaters when we were like 19, 20 years old. And we were like, this is amazing. And then I found out Shaun of the Dead existed, and I watched that. And then I waited and I got The World's End, which I loved. But I don't know. Again, he's not for everybody, and I'm okay with that.
Yep. We want to go ahead and indeed shout out Get the Tables, as we had saw Noel Taken here, and I knew that they had come from there. Get the Tables going ahead and rating us with 15 people. We greatly appreciate it. Tony, thankfully, hopefully you guys enjoyed AEW tonight, as you guys are on the road to All In, which I believe is this weekend. If I remember correctly, it's either this or next weekend. It's one of the weekends coming up. It's soon. I know it's soon.
Sunday the 25th at my time of 10 a.m.
Yes, from Wembley Stadium. It's going to be a good show. Daniel Bryan Bryan Danielson versus Swerve Strickland, streak versus career versus title. Going to be a whole bunch of fun. The All Atlantic champion MJF taking on Will Ospreay.
Well,
I know he called it something different. I don't give a shit.
Well, it hasn't been called All Atlantic in a long time.
Well, isn't that the title's name? Isn't that not the MJF name for the title?
No,
but like the official title's the Atlantic.
Not
right?
anymore. No, the original name was All Atlantic. Then it became the international title. Now it's the All American title or whatever.
Well, yes, that's because MJF is doing his best Hulk Hogan, because MJF, is MJF.
It's true. He is.
And Mariah May versus Toni Storm is probably going to be the best match on that entire show.
Yay.
No, nothing against Swerve Strickland versus Daniel Bryan, but I don't need to see that match in 2024. I would have liked to have seen that match in 2019. I would have liked to have seen that match in 2010. Well, no, obviously not 2010. Swerve wouldn't have been old enough, but in 2020, during that pandemic era where he was in NXT and things like that, those are the times I would have liked to have seen that match. Daniel Bryan right now versus Swerve Strickland, it doesn't work for me. But I know very many people are very excited for that match. So I hope that everybody enjoys All In from London, from Wembley Stadium, coming up on the 25th. And then, of course, remember that Bash in Berlin is a couple days later. And we will have all of your coverage of Bash in Berlin here as we talk about, the much superior European show that week. So don't you worry. Thank you, Bad Gal Beach, for subscribing for following us, as well as Doobie 401. Thank you very much. We greatly appreciate it. But we are here. This is what we call our MCU Rebounds, where we go back to the MCU to review shows that we didn't get a chance to review because we weren't a show back then. So right now we're in 2015, and we're talking about, as you can see by the show, Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man. It's a great movie. It did begin development in 2006, which is why a lot of the things that you see in this movie are things that are eerily similar to Iron Man. Because the bald, former mentee of the main protagonist, like, all of this is eerily familiar to, building a suit out of this, based on the technology of the other suit. It's all basically the same process as Iron Man, because the movies were being developed around the same time. Mm-hmm. Even though Iron Man came out in 2005, Edgar Wright did start working. 2008, you are correct. Sorry, 2008. All of the production kind of started at the same time.
Yeah.
So Edgar Wright with Joe Cornish wrote the movie, and then Marvel went through hell.
Mm-hmm.
This is the point where a lot of things were on Marvel's plate, and they didn't like the script.
Oh, I just realized something.
Yeah.
So this is Hawkeye.
Yeah.
You know how they have the musical in it?
Yeah.
And Hawkeye's making a joke about Ant-Man, saying he wasn't even there.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be there.
Yes.
I just realized
Ant-Man and the Wasp were part of the original Avengers team that was supposed to be part of the original Avengers.
Oh, I just finally realized that joke. Oh, yep. Jesus, that took me way too long.
It works on multiple levels. So Edgar Wright wrote the third version of this movie in 2012, and they shot test footage. Marvel liked it, and they began pre-production in October of 2013. However, Edgar Wright had to stop pre-production from this to finish the Cornetto trilogy, as we were just talking about, and he went on to complete The World's End. During this time, casting began for the movie, and they cast Paul Rudd to play Scott Lang, which was perfection.
Oh, God. I couldn't imagine anybody else playing Scott Lang at this point.
And by the way, Michael Douglas being brought onto this movie to play Hank Pym, I love it. I think he's perfect as Hank Pym. Oh, Evangeline Lilly is delightful as the
wonderful.
Yeah, like dude, the casting in this movie is really, really well done.
Even Darren Cross, I think, like it's well done.
Corey Stoll is fantastic.
Yeah, dude, and I love that guy. Like when he jumped into Billions in season 6, and I'm like, or he jumped into season 5, but he became the main opposition to the main character in season 6, kind of replacing Bobby Axelrod. I thought, oh God, we're gonna get, but he became so good in that show, and he's such a great actor. This is the end, or is it? This is the end where he plays. It's him and Jason Bateman and the Tina Fey. She's so good in that movie. He's such a good actor.
Yeah. Is it This Is Where I Leave You? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. It's This Is Where I Leave You with Jason Bateman, Tina Fey, Adam Driver.
Yeah.
This Is Where I Leave You.
Yeah, I knew it was This Is Something, but yeah.
The great thing about Ant-Man is that it's a movie that doesn't have to hit the high notes that the MCU's been used to. Mm-hmm. It was a movie perfectly created to be a smaller project, to make sizable money like the MCU, but to not have to spend as much money and to not have to expect the same return on investment.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It was a fantastic origin story that closed out phase 2 during a very integral time in the MCU as we started to push towards the beginning of Phase 3, which is going to be the hype up to the big finale.
And again, it brings a character in that we're like, wait, where does this character go from here? And we would find out in Civil War, the fun stuff that he does. But it did it in such a way where it's like if we didn't even have to see this character till Avengers Endgame, we would have been fine with that. Like it would, or till what I mean. Like it wouldn't have hurt him, but it allowed him to come in such a way. But you already have so much established without having to go like, how do you explain a mutant when everybody's already existed so long, and things like that.
So we have, like I said, we have a fantastic cast here. The friends. We can't not talk about Ant-Man without talking about the crew. Because Ant-Man was originally going to be a heist movie. And when Edgar Wright left the project, they stopped it being necessarily a heist movie and tweaked the idea of the heist to include it, but not make it that it's a heist movie because he's a criminal and things like that.
And again, it is a heist movie in the end where they're going to steal something, and it's a lot of them planning and a lot of them figuring out how to do it, which I love. I love the way it gives you kind of that Ocean's 11 feel without copying Ocean's 11 in the MCU.
Yep.
Yeah.
But when we talk about the crew, we're going to save the best for last. So we'll talk about David Dashmal.
Oh, I thought you said you're saving the best for last.
I am. I'm saving the best for last.
Oh, David Dashmal is great. Oh,
I agree. He's fantastic. The Baba Yaga, like this guy is fantastic. I adore him. I very rarely remember the things he does in this movie, and I always remember all the things he did in the Zombies episode of What If. Because he's fantastic in that.
And he was in the Flash TV series also. He appeared there.
He's been in 1,001 great things.
He was in the MacGyver reboot TV series. He ended up being Polka Dot Man in the Suicide Squad.
We then have Tip Harris, better known to audiences as T.I., playing Dave.
He was fine.
Dave. He's great. I like him. He's just the two friends are great because they have some good moments, but they don't steal the scenes that they're in. But they're integral in the parts that they need to play, and they play the parts they need to play to perfection.
I agree with that, yeah.
And then there's Michael Pena.
Oh, dude. Like
Louis.
this movie hinges on so much of his comedy in here too. Like, cause he puts things together in such a way that it just makes you love it.
The biggest failure of the third movie and everything in the MCU going forward is we have less Luis.
Yeah, I think not everything in the MCU, because I can live without him being in like
No. I want the recap at the beginning of every movie to be Luis telling us what happened in the previous movie.
Imagine Daredevil, the Daredevil TV show, just Luis in the first episode, just recapping all the Netflix Daredevil stuff.
The entire Netflix catalog. Yeah, I'd be great with that. I would.
And then his little side quest hooking up with She-Hulk, you know.
I mean, who wouldn't? But anyways,
yeah.
Luis is fantastic. The quick talking stories are what most people remember about Luis.
Mm-hmm.
But Michael Pena is so good in this, and he's one of the first four-fronted Hispanic characters in the MCU.
Yep.
But the positive outlook that he has in these movies, and the way he relates to every single character in this movie is just fantastic. And I just wish there were more of him.
Yeah, I agree with you. Because like he goes back, like I've been watching this dude for years. Like, oh, he's so good, man.
Everybody's been watching Michael Pena for years.
Oh, so good.
And we've talked about Paul Rudd. I mean, he's just sensational. Evangeline Lilly, just sensational. Bobby Cannavale as the new husband is great.
Yeah, like he's so like he's like, I hate, like he hates Scott so much, but he doesn't like,
As he should.
yeah, 100%. But like, he doesn't want it to be like it does. He doesn't ever wants it that look to be on his face in front of his family, and like I love it. And again, he hates him for multiple different reasons. He hates him because he's a criminal, but he hates him because probably a little bit because it's his wife's ex and all these little things. I love the way he plays in this movie. He does such a good job.
And the way that they work up to the bringing him on board the Ant-Man side with Paul Rudd,
100%.
the friendship they develop at the end of the movie and going into the next. It's such a well done thing that it doesn't feel corny or choreographed. It just feels right.
Yeah, I agree.
Like
with that
he
100%.
understands that Scott's there for not for Maggie. Scott's there for Cassie. And all he wants is Cassie. He doesn't want Maggie back. He doesn't care about Paxton being with Maggie. All he wants is to have time with Cassie. And when he saves Cassie at the end of the movie, I love that as a father. I love that switch from Paxton where all of a sudden now he's on board because he understands exactly where we are. All the borderlines have been drawn and they become good friends. And it's fantastic.
I agree. Again, he plays it in such a he's such a protective father bear, but then he learns to open up at the end. And it's like, okay, this guy is not the scumbag I thought he was.
Yeah, it's just delightful.
And really, if you think about Ant-Man 2, even after he technically like commits like federal crimes, he's still cool with them after.
Yeah.
Or international crimes. You still chill with them after. It's kind of it's an odd shift. You know what I mean? Like it's an odd shift.
Yeah. But this movie was plagued from the beginning with issues and the script rewrites and Marvel not liking a lot of the things that Edgar wanted and Edgar not wanting to play ball and thinking that he was bigger than the MCU and Edgar Wright wanted to make an Edgar Wright movie.
Yeah, as much as I love Edgar, you're not bigger than the MCU. I'm sorry. You're great. You've done some great movies. But no.
Yeah, no. So, because basically, Edgar, I've heard this. I believe it's probably New Rockstars that said this. Probably Eric Voss. Edgar Wright wanted to make an Edgar Wright movie. Marvel wanted to make a Marvel movie produced by Edgar Wright.
Potentially,
they wanted his flair and his touches on a bargain basement cookie cutter MCU movie.
Makes sense.
And I don't say cookie cutter in a bad way. I mean, Marvel at this point has now figured out we have the formula for what works. Our movies are going to make a shit ton of money if you do what we tell you to do.
And they do.
And at this point, they're not wrong.
No, again.
Later on, they will be. But at this point, they're not wrong.
Yeah, again. And even the ones that they have been wrong on, I've still enjoyed. So
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree that a lot of the ones that they've considered misses are really enjoyable. Where do we start with the movie itself? The plot of the movie. The movie starts with Scott.
Give us the Luis recap.
No, I'm not. I cannot do Luis even a remote justice. We see the back in the day with Hank Pym resigning from S.H.I.E.L.D. and punching the S.H.I.E.L.D. guy in the face with the de-aging technology for Michael Douglas and the aging technology for Peggy Carter to make her look older and to make Michael look younger. And by the way, Michael looked great. And I think it's interesting because they talked about this in this movie and with using it on Nick Fury and Captain Marvel. It's so difficult to use the technology on people that have been in the business for so long because we knew what they looked like at their point in their lives. So we know what they should look like in the movie. So if they don't look like how they should, it will cause a problem for the movie.
Well, to me, the perfect example is Robert Downey Jr. when they're showing him in the 80s. There's literally Robert Downey Jr. from SNL in like 86. That is literally that is, he looks exactly like that, and that was perfection. They did a great job here with Michael Douglas. But the thing is, they have so much reference. The best thing about it is they have, hello, my other tag team partner. They have so much Mel's second favorite that I put up every week.
I'm just gonna leave this here for a few seconds.
That's weird.
She's here. I figured she might as well get to see her. She didn't show up last night, so
I completely lost track of what I was saying when Mel appeared in the room. So
we see.
Oh, sorry. But there's so much reference footage they can use for a Samuel L. Jackson, for a Michael Douglas, for a Robert Downey Jr., and so many others that there's so much less chance of them making up. Where if you age Peggy Carter with the footage, maybe it's not going to look like what she looks like, what she should be at that age eventually.
Mel's saying that she likes to share her ADD with you while you're on school.
I got my own ADHD. Come on, Mel. Come on. You know that. I got pills for in my room.
Yeah. Scott Lang gets out of prison after being beaten up as part of a ritual for the people leaving the prison, which I thought was great. Luis picks him up in the van that plays the
only one to knock him out. And Luis was the only one to knock the guy out, too. Remember that.
Yeah. We have the cucaracha playing on the horn in the van because, of course, we do. Scott tries to see Cassie for her birthday, which is not looked fondly of between Mummy and Daddy. They both don't like the idea. He gives her the world's most evil-looking little fucking bunny thing.
But she loves it.
She does. Because, like my child, she loves things that are weird.
Yep.
She's like, it's adorable. And I'm like, you're a special kind of stupid, aren't you, honey? I love you.
Wow. I can't believe you say that about your child.
I didn't say it about my child. I said about the child in the movie.
Okay.
But then we get to the first of our Michael Pena story photos.
Well, he gets fired from Baskin Robbins, so he has to He's like, okay, tell me all about this. And we get him recapping about the one person telling the other person that the girl told the guy this, and just talking about the safe in
the basement of
house.
Yeah. Mel does say, fun fact, we indeed have footage of our friend Humanoid singing La Cucaracha.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Mel has it on her phone.
So he does some cool stuff to get into the safe because it wasn't what he expected. He uses the super glue on the tape with the wedding ring over the fire to go ahead and get something so he could pull a fingerprint. It's fantastic. I love it. It's great.
I love it. And the thing is that is not, it wouldn't work in every situation, but that is technically possible to do.
Yeah. Everything they do in this is technically possible. Turning the can of air upside down to freeze the lock does technically work. Yeah. If you I actually have one here because I was cleaning my computer out the other day. If you take an air can like this, full of air, and you flip it upside down and you spray it, it essentially becomes... Show
us, Ed. Show us.
No. I accidentally did that to my hand the other day, and that was dangerous. But it can become like a liquid nitrogen, which makes things very fragile. It makes the lock very breakable. It does indeed do the cold thing that they want to do. Mm-hmm. Granted, they use water because they need to use the cold water to go ahead and break all the things in the door. But it's fantastic, and he finds a motorcycle suit. Or so he thinks.
Yeah. And then this is where the science goes out the window.
Oh, God. So fucking far out the window.
Oh, Jesus.
Which is fine, because it's a comic book. And comic books don't have to be scientifically accurate.
That's right. That's right, Chris Nolan. You're realistic, Batman.
He goes ahead and puts the suit on in the bathroom shower while Luis is coming in to go take a pee. And by the way, Paul Rudd wanted to shoot that entire scene with Luis physically doing it with the camera on Luis. Like with Paul Rudd seeing this from his angle as the little itty bitty Ant-Man.
That's awesome.
Paul Rudd has said in interviews that's something he wanted to do. Oh, no, it was Peyton Reed who said that in interviews. By the way, if you want to get some great stories about this movie from Peyton Reed, he does a fantastic thing for the honest trailers for Ant-Man in preparation for Ant-Man 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp. He goes on honest trailers, and they do an honest trailers commentary with Peyton Reed in the room with them as they did this.
That's cool.
Yes. Ironically, if you look at the thumbnail for this on the YouTube side, I stole an idea from that Ant-Man honest trailer to make the thumbnail for this show that we did. But he's so freaked out about life as Ant-Man and as the little itty-bitty ant, you know, people trying to step on him, mice being gigantic, horrifying creatures, just everything that would happen if you shrank down to that size. He goes back to returning because he no longer wants whatever the hell this is. And of course, that's when he gets arrested. And says, I wasn't breaking in. Well, I mean, I was, but I was returning something I already stole. Shit.
It's so stupid. It's so freaking stupid.
Yep. Hank Pym comes in. They bring him the Ant-Man suit, and Hank Pym talks him through how to get out of the prison with the prison break in the Ant-Man suit to go ahead and become part of the team. However, Scott Lang passes out while in flight on one of the ants and wakes up in a bed with Evangeline Lilly staring over him with one of the most deadly ants on the floor. Not one of, a lot of one of the most deadly ants on the floor.
Bullet ants?
From walking. They were the bullet ants, yes.
Yeah.
Number 1 on the Schmidt Pain Index, if I remember correctly from the terminology of the movie.
Damn.
We then see a whole bunch of stuff with Darren Cross trying to perfect the Ant-Man shrinking technology. Where he
turning people into goo.
Yeah, where he brings Hank Pym into the facility and he shows off the archival footage from S.H.I.E.L.D. because one of the S.H.I.E.L.D. guys is one of the guys trying to buy this on behalf of the 10 Rings.
And yeah, because S.H.I.E.L.D. has fallen by this point.
Yeah,
from Winter Soldier.
This is
right?
post. This is post. Winter Soldier. Yeah. This is post Winter Soldier. So S.H.I.E.L.D. has fallen, and he was Hydra anyways.
Yeah, it's true.
He was Hydra anyways. So him working with the 10 Rings makes a lot of sense. So could you imagine what would happen if the 10 Rings had gotten the Ant-Man technology?
Keeps dominating the world as he's done for 10,000 years. Like, I don't know.
But imagine if Wenwu could get larger and smaller at a whim.
Damn.
Because remember, everything you do as an ant is the same thing but magnified.
Yeah, you're right.
So imagine Wenwu with the 10 Rings as a
Yeah.
Remember, this wasn't even the right 10 Rings because this is the other 10 Rings. Because we've never actually had it confirmed that Wenwu's 10 Rings of the Shang-Chi movie is the same 10 Rings that we find out about in Iron Man. Actually, no, it is. No, it is confirmed. I'm incorrect because they bring Slattery over and they say that the real Mandarin needs to see you. So yes, no, it is all confirmed.
Yeah, I was gonna say the whole Slattery arc tells you it's the real 10 ring. It's the same 10 rings.
I forgot about Slattery for 10 seconds. Honestly, a lot of us want to forget about Trevor Slattery when it comes to.
I love Trevor Slattery. He's so good.
But yes, at one point he does turn somebody into goo and picks them up off the thing and throws them in the garbage with disgusting.
Yeah.
The little sheep that explodes in the little thing. when he can't get it to size right. But at some point, they decide that they need a piece of technology in order to be able to stop Darren Cross from bringing out the Yellow Jacket suit. So they have to go to an old Stark facility in the north of New York.
I love it. Even the first time I watched this movie, when they said that, I'm like, in my brain, before they even went there, I'm like, it's probably going to be Avengers Campus.
Yep. And it is. And they tell him, no, go away, don't do this. But no. He goes ahead and he tries, and he runs into who? Sam Wilson.
Captain America. Falcon at this point.
He runs into Falcon, who's there with apparently Vision.
Yeah, why did Viz not show up at this point?
Apparently, according to Anthony Mackie in interviews, they've asked him who he was talking to. And apparently it's Vision.
Makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree. It makes sense that Vision would be there.
But why didn't Vision just start phase through shit and go after Ant-Man? Like,
you would think.
Yeah. Weird. But
he goes ahead and briefly fights with Falcon before kind of defeating the Falcon.
He sabotages Pac.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
But she would go on to do Iron Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because callbacks. Callbacks are great. So they get the piece, and they go ahead to try to take care of Darren Cross at the facility. But Darren Cross is ready for them.
Mm-hmm.
And we get a whole bunch of fun here. And again, we're kind of just grazing over a lot of this movie because
Luis getting caught in the secured area and then punching the dude out, but then at the end realizes he has to go back and save him because like, god damn it, I gotta save you.
There's so many good things as part of this. We just kind of want you to go back and give this movie a try. If you haven't seen it in a while, go watch it. If you have seen it recently, go watch it again. It's a really good movie. It'll be well worth your 2 hours of your time.
100%.
However, the best thing in this movie, bar none, no questions asked, cannot be argued, is the fight scene in Cassie's bedroom. Sorry, not Cassie. It is Cassie's bedroom, right?
Yeah.
With this guy right here next to me.
Yeah. It did not to like go over that helicopter fight was dope as hell.
I agree. I love the helicopter
job
fight
with that.
Nothing is better than Thomas the Tank Engine blowing through the side of that house.
Oh god, it was so good. And again, that's the second. Like they had the tank jump flying out of Cross Industries, right? First, it just oh my god, just some of it was just so good. Oh, I loved it.
The genius use of the shrinking and enlarging technologies in this movie was fantastic.
And just before that even got blown up, just the fight scene with the train coming at them and they're fighting
and the train
tiny boat, and they just hits them and falls over. Oh, just genius stuff.
It was like I said, it's one of the best Marvel fight scenes in history because of the genius of how silly and dumb it is. Yeah. It's not the greatest fight scene for great fight choreography. It's not the greatest fight scene because it's well choreographed and spaced out and everybody's really intense. No, it is the greatest fight scene because it is the most nonsensical fight ever in the world. However, it is also incredibly entertaining and suspenseful at portions. Because how small they are, everything looks massive like it's real, even though it's a toy train set. Mm-hmm. They do such a good job of bringing you into the world, or at least bringing me into the world.
Yep.
That I agree. Buy into this.
Yeah, it sucks you in, man. It really does.
Yeah, it does. However, at the end of this, Darren Cross, as the Yellow Jacket, gets sent to the Microverse, as they called it originally.
After Scott has to go subatomic to
Yes.
get in between the pieces to take him out, which he was told not to do. Do not turn off the regulator.
Because that's how Janet died in the mission in the 80s.
Yeah.
Which is great. Again, great callback to something we heard earlier in the movie. It leads to everything else that we're going to see going forward because he comes back from that quantum realm. But they called it, I'm almost certain they called it the microverse at one point. And then they quickly retconned it to all be the quantum realm.
I always heard quantum realm, but...
All right, maybe I'm wrong.
In the movie, they say quantum realm.
Yeah.
So...
I believe in the comics, maybe it's the microverse. I don't know.
That's still the quantum realm there.
I might be confusing it with something else. I'm entirely possible. I haven't watched this movie in 2 weeks because we were supposed to do this review 2 weeks ago, right before Deadpool and Wolverine came out.
Yeah.
And then life got away from us, and shit happened, and here we are.
Okay, it's referenced as the microverse in this movie.
Yeah, I was almost certain that it was a microverse in this movie.
No,
it will forever known
microverse tunnel.
Yeah, it's known as the quantum realm.
Yeah.
But remember, Hank doesn't know that there's anything there. He knows you can go quantum and you can go into a realm where the quantum realm, but he didn't know it was possible for things to live there. So that's kind of why the quantum realm is so tagged on the second one to do it. I was going to say, I was almost certain it was the microverse at points in this movie.
But they also talk about the quantum realm as part of this too. That's the thing. They do mention quantum realm in this movie too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he talks about that it's a microverse of unending possibilities, something in that point when talking about it. Yeah.
And the movie ends. Everybody's happily ever after. Everything's great. And then we get the mid-credit scene where Hank Pym shows Evangeline Lilly the new suit, and she says it's about time. And it's funny because Peyton Reed used to tease Evangeline Lilly in between the first movie and the second movie not to get too big for herself, or he was gonna do to her what Marvel did to Terrence Howard, and not let her see the costume, say she's gonna be in the costume, and then not be in the costume for the second movie.
Imagine if they had Terrence Howard at her. That would have been insanely funny, but just mean at the same time. And
then we get the rest of the credits, and we get the post-credit scene, which is actually a scene from Captain America: Civil War.
Yep,
where they've captured Bucky, and they're talking to him, and they're trying to get through to him after the explosion. And again, we don't know all of what's going on, but it was a signing. Yeah. We now know going forward it was a signing of the Accords.
And I know a guy references Ant-Man. Yeah.
We also got Luis recapping for the first mention of Spider-Man in the MCU.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where Luis is doing the story where Anthony Mackie's trying to find Ant-Man. And the girl says, well, we've got a guy, and she basically describes Spider-Man. Because at this point, in between this movie being made, they made the agreement with Sony Studios to be able to use Spider-Man, because Spider-Man will be making his debut in the next movie, in Civil War.
Mm-hmm. He does, yeah.
So during post-production, they included that scene with him trying to find Ant-Man and then mentioning Spider-Man because they were dropping the hint that we were going to see him in the next movie.
Makes sense.
Just fantastic. Such a great movie.
Yep. Again, it's a movie I could just put on and watch and just enjoy and I don't have to be doing a marathon of, because some of these movies, I love them. I need to be kind of in marathon mode to watch some Marvel movies. Like Winter Soldier is another one I just put on and enjoy because it's just such a great movie. Iron Man, a couple others, but it's just so fun and lighthearted while giving you some good stakes in this movie. It really is.
Ant-Man premiered at the Dolby Theater in Hollywood, Los Angeles on June 29th, 2015. It was then released in North America on July 17th in 3D and IMAX 3D. The film was released in 38,000 cinemas with an amazing amount of IMAX screens of 361 nationwide.
Not bad.
Which is,
not bad.
Remember, we're still talking about 2015. So the fact that IMAX was there was a movie that popular in IMAX at that point is sensational. It does work alone as a standalone movie. I agree. Ironically, the Ant-Man movie by itself is one of the few movies in the MCU that doesn't need anything that came after it. And it can just sit by itself and be its own special movie that you don't need anything going in or anything coming out.
Yeah. Like, for me, when I went and saw this movie, I didn't see it until my birthday on August 10th. Me and my buddy Brian went to see this movie in theaters. But we did a 2-movie thing that day. We saw Ant-Man first, which was the right thing to do. And then we saw Fant4stick, you know? That was a weird ending to the day. And Crisis saw Ant-Man first.
All right, Andre, we're here to our fun part of the evening. The numbers. Dun, dun, dun.
All right.
Ant-Man was budgeted at $130 million. How much money did Ant-Man make either domestically or worldwide?
I know the worldwide number. It's in the 500 million somewhere because I remember us talking about it when we talked about Deadpool, and it was nearing Ant-Man's like worldwide number the first time we talked about it with like 450 million or something. Where they're at.
Yeah, 590.
So I know it's in the 500. Somebody like 520 million.
Yep, 519,311.
Boom. I knew it was in that ballpark because when we talked about Deadpool, it was coming up.
I'm going to do something fun then for you, Andre. A little bit tougher since we've been talking about the numbers of all these movies and what they've been grossing lately. Opening weekend domestically for Ant-Man. What did it bring in? 3-day domestic.
Being that's only there. I'm gonna say like domestic.
Domestic.
I'm gonna say
Remember, it only made $180 million domestically over the entire run.
Oh, that's not good. Like, you think it would do better.
It did not do well in the United States and Canada. It did incredibly well internationally at $339 million.
I'm gonna say like I gotta believe this movie. No, you're saying it's 180 overall in the. So it came from 100 in its first weekend. I'm gonna say like 65 mil.
57. Not bad.
Again, I'm just trying to extrapolate. If you're cutting that, probably taking a third in your first weekend, and then you just taking the rest over time. So it makes sense.
It dropped under 3,000 cinemas after its third week. It was below 2,000 cinemas through its 7th weekend, and it lasted in cinemas until December. It spent 22 weeks in cinemas, but it dropped under 1,000 in September. So it was quickly phased out of cinemas. Which is surprising for a Marvel movie. It lasted 9 weeks at over 1,000 cinemas.
Not bad.
No, but it dropped it to be in less than 1,000 cinemas as an MCU movie in only 9 weeks is pretty substantial. Considering, like I said, considering we're talking about Deadpool, and Deadpool right now, until they pull it, is going to keep making money like this. I mean, hell, Deadpool made what these guys made in its opening weekend on weekend 3.
Yeah, it's true.
Let's see. What is the official new numbers for Deadpool and Wolverine? Sorry, just give me a second. Deadpool and Wolverine right now.
Yeah, I'm pulling that up too because I want to know. If I know they just crossed 1 billion.
Yeah. Domestically, they're at 506 million. Worldwide, they're at 1 billion 43.
It's not bad. It's not bad at all.
They don't have any. Oh, here we go. If I pull up the domestic number, all right, here we go. Domestic weekends. They did 211 the first weekend. The second weekend, they did 96 million. The third weekend, they did 53 million. But
the funny thing is, like they just and Ryan just beating out his wife in that third weekend. Yep. Her movie brought in just over 50 mil, so he beat her by like a couple million with this movie that was 3 weeks old already.
And by the way, this movie is still in it's in more cinemas now than it was when it released. When it released in 4,200 cinemas, 4,210. And then the next week, on weekend 2, it was in 4,230. And then it was in 4,330 last weekend. So whereas Ant-Man went down, this is going up.
Well, again, there's probably a lot of smaller theaters that are getting their screenings later on that can't, like, depending on what they want to pay. Because I know, Kevin Smith talked about wanting to get screenings, and it was a weird process for his screenings. Yeah.
However, Andre, the game continues.
But that also screen swing might be like theaters going, well, this is doing so well, expand it to, like, we have 5, let's say they had 5 screens on the first weekend. They were like, well, let's do 6 this weekend. So multiple theaters probably did something like that too.
Absolutely. No, I agree. Yeah. Like I said, it's just unusual to see the movie, the longer the movie's out, the more screens it gets. Typically, it goes the other way. 341 official reviews from the critics. Ant-Man 2015. The number is, you got to be within 2% for me to consider it right.
I'm going to say 75.
No, 83.
Wow. I did not, like, I love this movie. I just didn't think the critics would be nice to it.
Yeah. 83% from 348 tomato reviews. It is a certified fresh.
Okay.
Audience scores. Over 100,000 reviews from audience scores.
Always a weird number. I'm going to go 84.
85. Good job.
Oh, I got nothing to
Good job. As we all know, it is obviously the biggest number in the Ant franchise. That's not saying much, though, unfortunately.
It's the biggest one in the Ant-chise?
In the Ant-chise. In the franchise of the Ants. It has surprisingly good numbers across the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a question, though. Deadpool and Wolverine. We haven't played this game yet. Critic score, 379 critic reviews for Deadpool and Wolverine.
Budge. I know there's some weird hate for this movie. I'm going to say like 78.
Right on the dot, 78%.
Oh, shit. That's fuck. I didn't think I would get it.
25,000 plus verified audience scores reviews.
94.
95.
Oof.
Andre knows the audience. Critic reviews. There are some fun ones in here, so we're gonna read a couple of these. We got a few minutes.
Ant-Man or Deadpool?
Deadpool.
Okay.
So, always good movies. Felipe Freitas. Everything about this movie is extreme, as it takes an everything but the kitchen sink approach. attacking from all sides in a department with an I don't give a damn posture. 2 out of 5.
Dumbass.
Cody Leach from Cody Leach YouTube. Deadpool and Wolverine is the most laugh-filled fun that I've had in the theater in recent memories. Ryan Reynolds' hijinks mixed with the gravitas of Jackman's Wolverine is a match made in heaven. Story takes a back seat, but they more than make up for it. 4.5 out of 5.
I like it, but the story was I enjoyed the story.
Asheville Movies by Edwin Ardeen. Sean Levy was a bad idea. So was Ryan Reynolds. C-.
What? People are dumb. People are just dumb.
The Financial Times' Danny Lay. The tonal battle between the two characters is a walkover. Plus the freneticized slapstick violence and battery of gags is 2+ hours plus a pass in the finger clink. In a finger click. 3 out of 5.
None of that thing, any of that made sense. But at least they gave it technically gave it a positive review.
They did technically give it a positive review.
Yeah.
It's absolutely baffling how this movie separates people. I will never understand.
I don't get it because I've seen some bad ones. I was reading some like the week came out. I was reading some 1-star reviews, and I'm like, how can you say this shit? Like, I understand you don't like it. That is very much apparent. You don't like this, but to say Ryan Reynolds was a bad choice and this director was a bad choice, it was like, no, these people were great choices because they've made $1 billion goddamn dollars. You idiots! Like,
ching. By the way, this is the first Marvel movie to make $1 billion since Spider-Man No Way Home.
That's
I'm sorry, no, not that. Endgame. Because technically, that money isn't Marvel's. The $1 billion from Spider-Man No Way Home technically goes to Sony.
But of Marvel movie, of the MCU movie,
but it does,
the first one.
According to the Marvel bottom line, the $1 billion doesn't go to them. It goes to Sony. And then they get a percentage of that.
Yeah, it's true.
All right. Going forward, we are going to be changing a bit of the schedule. Going forward. We're working on a little bit of Burnout. Andre is very heavily involved in Japanese wrestling, and Japanese wrestling is at one of his highest points of the year currently right now. Marvel Talk is going to take a hiatus until Agatha All Along. If anything Marvel related comes out that I need to cover, I will do my own short episode. I might be going by some
if we get some big news or big trailers, I'm down to jump in. We'll jump in talk. It's just we're not going to have these weekly Wednesday shows, these every couple week Wednesdays until Agatha returns.
When Agatha returns, I will be here. Andre will be here for as many as he can make. Mm-hmm. We will have guest stars jumping in and out. We'll be covering all of the episodes of Agatha All Along, probably on the Wednesday when it releases.
Most likely.
We'll probably still be doing those Wednesday episodes on those release days. In the event we can't, it'll most likely be a Friday because of the fact that we don't want to wait too long. And Thursday nights are fully booked here at our local establishment.
And it can run before or after Japanese Wrestling Update. If you can, I apologize, Noel. I'm sorry. Just life is just kind of crazy right now with being work.
To be honest, the only 2 shows that we're missing, that we're not doing, that we were planning on doing between here and there, is the Deadpool review for the first Deadpool movie, and we were planning on doing Captain America: Civil War before Agatha.
And there's always possibility when September hits, I could be like, hey, let's do Deadpool before Agatha. It's possible. It's just I know for the next at least couple weeks, I gotta take a little step back with some stuff. And
however,
certain things,
we do have good news, as we have figured out a holiday treat to make up for all of this. Right before, on an episode that will either be airing on Christmas Day or on Christmas Eve, depending if we decide to go live or not, however we decide to do it, we are going to be reviewing not Deadpool 2, we're going to be reviewing Once Upon a Deadpool.
Yeah.
For those that don't know what Once Upon a Deadpool is, it is the PG-13 version of Deadpool 2. It is censored, and it is also told in the story-like world of A Princess Bride.
One of my favorite movies of all time.
Deadpool literally kidnaps an adult Fred Savage and puts him in the same room with the same attire that Fred Savage was wearing as a child when his grandfather told him the Princess Bride story.
Isn't this where the Nickelback shot comes from too? This is
indeed where the Nickelback shot will come in. So we are going to have a bunch of fun by doing a review of Once Upon a Deadpool for Christmas. To make up for missing a couple episodes and disappointing a little bit, we wanted to do something fun for Christmas. And we both immediately said, wouldn't it be great if somewhere, somehow, this movie was streaming? Because it's only available on DVD. It is not legally streaming anywhere. So we are getting DVD copies.
Yeah, I've got a DVD copy coming in the next couple of days from Amazon. So
So Once Upon a Deadpool will be happening over the Christmas holiday, on top of whatever other Marvel-based stuff we have in December that we don't know of yet. We're expecting one of the animated series to take place over that period of time.
I feel like it's going to be What If.
I do too. Andre, where can the good people find you in the meantime?
Ooh, in the meantime, you can find me on the X at that Canada Guy, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads at that Canada Dude. You can find me on Facebook at Andre Multiverse and Talk, and on my YouTube channel where we're going to have some G1 coverage for days 14, 15, and 16 coming out this weekend-ish. And then we'll have our G1 finals coverage coming out next week. We will get something out talking about something with the Stardom 5-Star Grand Prix. Just my job with G1 and 5-Star added in, and being that it's a 3-week compression this year, it just is too much wrestling. So we'll have something to talk about. We'll talk about it definitely this Friday on the Japanese Wrestling Update. We'll give you an update on the 5-Star Grand Prix. We'll give you an update on the G1 Climax. Maybe a little bit of N1 Victory update, because I'm not watching that, but I'm keeping an eye on the standings because of Josh Briggs and Tavion Heights running in the N1 Victory this year. So all that's coming Friday and stuff next week. So Friday on Japanese Wrestling Update right here, and full G1 coverage and some Stardom coverage coming next week on on Andre Melba Wrestling Talk.
And by the way, Tavion Heights is apparently making a name for himself in Japan. There's a video of the crowd chanting his name after one of his matches. He's apparently showing up and showing out in Japan, so that's fantastic. And when he comes back to the United States, he has a new partner in Ren Sinclair, as Ren Sinclair is now part of the Candy Crew over in NXT. By the way, Andre, this week and next week, if you can fit it in, you're going to have to watch a little bit of NXT, because your girl Lola Vice is on 2 weeks in a row with 2 matches. She faced Tatum Paxley this week, and she's got Wendy Chu next week. I will be sick baby next week.
Might have to dust off my old NXT watching skills and join Astrid for that show.
You can, of course, find me on Twitter at EdFries12584. You can find me on the Twitter, twitch.tv/EdFries2002. We will be coming back to you next Tuesday night with Taking Over, as me and Ashford go ahead and take over and talk all things NXT. We are on the road to NXT No Mercy, where we have 2 incredible special guests, but you're going to have to wait 1 more week so we can make sure to confirm those and get some graphics made. But let me tell you, one of them is going to be an instant classic. So we're very excited for this. So thank you all for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. Like I said, Marvel Talk will return if nothing else, we will be returning on September 18th with an episode recapping episodes 1 and 2 of Agatha All Along. So make sure to join us for that. We greatly appreciate it. Yes, yay guests. Thank you for the stream. We greatly appreciate you being here, Noel. You are such a good fan. We appreciate you sticking around. Remember, if you've missed it, we've got the Deadpool and Wolverine review that we did with Rich King of RK Athletics. We got Mark Talks Wrestling on that review. Made an appearance. I made an appearance. We have the D23 coverage that we did last weekend, where I went ahead and described a lot of trailers that I showed Andre, because let's put it this way. I tried to upload the trailers as a private video on the YouTube side just to show people the trailers afterwards, and it got flagged. Mm-hmm. Every single trailer got flagged. Marvel does not want these exclusive D23 trailers shown. So they are fantastic. We are very excited for them. Go ahead and catch that show where we have Andre's live reaction to all of these trailers, because he didn't see any of them ahead of time. Until then, we will see you again for Marvel Talk on September 18th, just over a month away, so it's not even that long. Like I said, we're only missing 2 shows. We greatly appreciate everybody for understanding. We'll see you next time. Love you all. Goodbye.
Bye.